Well, the Super Falcons of Nigeria have once again made Nigeria proud. They have, of course, once again completed it. Another title for the Super Falcons for Nigeria. I'm such a happy man tonight. Well, the Super Falcons of Nigeria had to, of course, come from 2 goals down to win 3 goals to two. Well, it was such a difficult game for the Super Falcons because they had to do it the hard way. They considered 2 silly goals in the first half of this game. I actually thought that because I didn't have the stamina to watch the second half because I felt, I mean, considering 2 goals in the first half were absolutely rubbish in the first half. We played nonsense. We weren't really organized at the back in the midfield, even in attack. We're just not were non-existent in the first half. But then in the second half, the coach, of course, after a few minutes of play, decided to make a couple of substitutions, and then of course brought in some key players, and that of course did the magic for us. Our courtesy of that fine display from Esther Okoronkwo and of course Echegini and the rest of the players who of course put in a shift, especially National Tajibadi, who of course won the player of the tournament. We also saw our goalkeeper winning the goalkeeper of the tournament. But I tell you what, the Super Falcons in the second half had it all to play for. They, of course, were resilient after the coach brought in a couple of players. Of course, Super Falcons have the deficit. All right, they have the deficit, in the second half, and then after some moments, they also were able to make it 2-2. Right, it was not looking like we were going to score, but somehow were able to manage to, of course, get the third goal of this game, and then it came up to 3-2. It was Nigeria all the way from then on. I think overall play, because I was just looking at the start of the game, I can tell you what, overall play, Nigeria were absolutely the better side in this game. Shots on goal, shots on target, ball possession. We were absolutely dominant in this encounter. Forget the fact that we made 2 silly mistakes at the back that, of course, cost us the 2 goals. This was just the first time since the inception of this tournament, this 2024 edition of the African Women's Cup of Nations, that we were conceding a goal. Yes, it was the first time that we went to go down, and then of course we're going also again 2 goals down. And once again, the girls rose up to the occasion. They showed their true character. I'm sure they would have practiced these scenarios where they went 2 goals down, and then they didn't panic at all in the second half. They played their game according to the way the coach, of course, told them how to do it, and we came out on top of it. Well, congratulations to the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Mission X, we have of course done it. Mission S is possible. It is a 10th African Women's Cup of Nations for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Well, be rest assured that the national award is waiting for the coaches of the team doctors, the physios, and of course the players of this team. I'm sure there will be a national award. Yes, just like the Super Eagles had last year when, of course, they finished second in the African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. This time around, the Super Falcons beat host Morocco. Even though the Moroccan fans they used lasers just like we suspected. They used lasers to try as much as possible to intimidate the Super Falcons. But then the Super Falcons were absolutely resilient. They were, of course, very much focused on what they were expected to do. Yes, a team can have a bad first half, but then it doesn't, of course, mean that that is the end of the game for them. So the Super Falcons, well, for me, I'm probably very happy with what they've done. It's a final of a competition. A final is not always beautiful. What is important is to get the job done. And at the end of 90 minutes plus 6, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, they beat the American counterparts with the crowd up for the Moroccans. With, of course, the whole country up for the Moroccans because Morocco hosted the tournament. So we're playing against the host nation. The stadium was packed full. Well, of course, we saw a large majority of those who watched this match from Morocco right there at the stadium. But it didn't, of course, deter the Super Falcons. They were just absolutely focused on what was expected of them, and then they got the job done. So once again, congratulations to the Super Falcons of Nigeria, especially Esther Okoronkwo. What a footballer, what a baller. And then, of course, Echegini as well. We have to also mention a special one to Rashida Tajibadi, player of the tournament, and then of course our goalkeeper who won the Golden Glove of the tournament. Overall, I think we did well. So for us now, we have to take the shiny, beautiful, brand new trophy that CAF has of course introduced. It's the first time that any team would of course win that beautiful trophy, and once again, just like the Super Falcons have done in times past, they have again shown that they are #1 national team when it comes to women's football. Congratulations to the Super Falcons.